Hey guys, Wingy here and welcome to another episode of the top threes of all of the Doctors. This time out we are going to be talking about my personal top three best of the David Tennant era. But like always guys, I'm aiming to hit 10k by the end of the year. I'm assuming it's not going to be possible considering that we are very near the end of the year. However, any support that you can give, if you haven't already subscribed and you do enjoy the content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and I would love you forever. But yes, let's get back into it. So the 10th Doctor, for those of you who've watched my channel for a while now, you will know that as a kid, yes, I did really like him. Growing up, I'm kind of a bit lukewarm on him. Let's talk about my top three favourite. As always, in no particular order, and it's just my own personal opinion. Starting off, Human Nature and the Family of Blood. Now this, as a story, I don't think there's too many Doctor Who stories like it. The Doctor isn't really the Doctor for the majority of this story. And what I like is that Martha has to sort of pick up the slack and help the Doctor and do the doctory things and also protect him at the same time. And it gives her a lot to do and it really adds to Martha's character. What I especially liked about this story as well was seeing David Tennant play John Smith, a character who isn't really like the Doctor at all. You've also got a great villain in the Family of Blood, and the way that they start off when they slowly get people from around the village to manifest themselves, I guess. Seeing them pick off these characters one by one and then they are like the family was really cool and really creepy actually in places. Some of the characters it's like, oh, they've just literally grabbed that guy from over there. But with Mother of Mine, she's a character, I think she's called Jenny, I'm not 100% sure though. Christ, I need to rewatch this because I don't really remember the characters' names. Either way, she's sort of friendly with Martha and she does seem like a genuinely sweet character, so when she's picked off and turned into Mother of Mine, it's like, oh, that's a shame. And obviously there's a little girl as well, so it's like, oh, you bastards, like leave kids out of it, come on. Son of Mine, however, is the standout out of all four of them. I think he is fantastic with his performance throughout. He's creepy, he's unnerving, he's unsettling as well. Even just his facial expressions are like, shit, this guy means business. The Scarecrows are typical Doctor Who as well. Take something from the real world, turn them into a threat. These Scarecrows, they're not the prettiest, and I don't think they're meant to because, you know, scarecrows are meant to scare off birds and stuff, but they're a really creepy design, and the way that they move as well, again, is very unsettling. And I think that's a word to describe this entire story. It is unsettling, but it's beautifully written. And what I love as well is the decision that John Smith has to come to, like, to save everybody, he has to essentially die. Those scenes where John Smith is getting really emotional and you see flash forwards into potentially what could be, what his life could be like if he refuses. I mean, as the audience, you know that he's gonna have to turn back into the Doctor. And you also know that these flash forwards and his, you know, happy life where he's got kids and grandchildren, that's probably not going to happen if the Family of Blood get their way. And even though you as the audience know that, deep down he knows it as well, it's still just as heartbreaking. From start to finish, this is an acting masterclass from pretty much everybody in the cast. It's a fantastically written story, it's creepy, unnerving, unsettling, all these different things, and it perfectly sets up a plot thread for the series finale. Brilliant story. Next up, Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead. Now for me personally, this is my actual favourite 10th Doctor story. I love it. Series 4 is just the best, isn't it? Out of the David Tennant era, or maybe even out of the Russell era, I could argue. But this for me, I love. Moffat always had a habit of writing the best story in each of Russell's series, apart from series 2. Possibly 3. Yeah, 3, because I'm not including Blink on it, so yeah, there you go. So in 2 of the 4 series, Moffat had a habit of writing the best story, and this is no example. Obviously, I think around this point we knew that Moffat was going to take over from Russell T Davies, so he's clearly setting up a couple of plot threads for his era, mainly being River Song. What I like is this giant library that contains all the information in the universe, and nobody's there. It's a really interesting concept right from the get-go. What I love is this crew come in and they're trying to figure out what's going on, and then as the story unravels you realise that they're connected to this little girl that we keep seeing as well. Again, I love that the crew is picked off one by one. There's moments where it's like, ah, no, they'll be fine. Ah, shit, but they've got 2 shadows, that means they're about to die. I think the Doctor, I'm not going to say cruel because I don't think that he is, but I like the way that he kind of lies a little bit or tells a white lie, just like, yeah, you're gonna be fine, knowing full well, yeah, no, you're not gonna be fine. God, could you imagine if it was Capaldi though? He'd be like, yep, you're dead. River Song really does seem like a mystery the first time that you watch this. However, Watching it back, and obviously with the hindsight of the Moffat era, it's fairly fucking obvious who River's meant to be, which is fine, you know, if that's the way that you want to go. But I think at the time that this came out, it seemed like the obvious answer, so people kind of denied it and were like, nah, it won't be that obvious. Yeah, it was that obvious. I actually really like Alex Kingston in this story, and I think she's got a pretty good rapport with David Tennant as well. I love that Catherine Tate has got a load of stuff to do in this story as well. I love her. She's my favourite modern era companion, I think. The stuff where she's got her own life, like this alternate but not real reality. I love seeing her come to grips with that and realising that all these things that we know Donna has wanted, really, they're not real. They're fiction. Like, her kids aren't real. Her partner isn't real, so she thinks. What I love, especially, is even in these moments that are supposed to be big and dramatic, there's still places for humour, and it's not misplaced either. It fits. Like where Donna is talking to Miss Evangelista and she tells her like, yeah, this world isn't real, and she's like, oh, for God's sake, I've been dieting. That just epitomizes why I love Donna. But the Doctor in this story, he is so in control, but you can tell that there's a part of him that is a little bit scared and also very confused as well because of the presence of River Song. I do find it annoying later on. I quite like that this is another Moffat story where it is kind of a happy ending. Similar to The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances, like, everybody lives. In this one, yeah, they do technically get to live, and obviously the Doctor would have an answer. Like, if River is so important to him in the future, he's not just going to let her die, which of course he does, and like he says, he finds out and he's like, saved her. Also, can I just point out as well, one of the reasons why I love this as well is from an aesthetic point of view. I think this story looks fantastic, and also, come at me with this, this is the best costume variant that David Tennant ever had as the Doctor. I don't know why we didn't see this variant more. I think it has a cameo in Unicorn and the Wasp, but apart from that, just this story. So annoying. It is beautiful. The blue suit, far superior to the brown. I don't care if you disagree, come at me. I'll fight anyone. And at the end of the day, it's just a costume from a TV show that aired like 13 years ago now. So it's not really worth a fight, but I will still argue it because it is my favourite variant of the 10th Doctors. And last but by no means least, the Waters of Mars. And I've realised again, I've done this in broadcast order. Yeah, the Waters of Mars is just fantastic. I thought it was a great way to sort of segue into the end of the David Tennant era, where he does have this morally questionable attitude about him. But at the same time, it's also understandable. Like, we've gone through this journey with him, and obviously with Christopher Eccleston as well, because some of those plot threads come through. Like, he's lost so much, he's lost so many people, things haven't gone the way that he wants them to, and part of him just snaps and goes, you know what, there's no one else left, like, why can't I do what I want? But before you get to even that stuff, which is fantastic and would bring that story onto this list alone, you've got a really great base Under Siege story, which is Doctor Who's bread and butter, let's be honest, that focuses with these creepy water people, like the water of Mars changes people. Again, such a simplistic concept, turning something from the real world, like, you know, water, and turning it into a threat. I thought it was fantastic. Especially because you are on Mars and you know that you can't go outside because you can't breathe. You've got to stay in this space station, and obviously the TARDIS is going to get cut off from the Doctor at some point. Actually, no, it's outside, isn't it? So technically, yeah, it's already cut off from him. The fact that they are trapped on this base and they have to just avoid the flood and get to where they need to go as quick as possible without getting noticed or attacked or whatever, I think was brilliant. It really adds to the tension and the drama. Lindsay Duncan is fantastic, and in terms of like the one-off guest stars that David Tennant ever had, she's up there as one of the best. I really like her story as well. Actually, the story of everybody, where they're the first set of people on Mars, and I like the fact that throughout the entirety of the Russell T Davies era, we've heard stuff about fixed points in time and how this is a major one, and you feel the Doctor's, I don't know the word, but I guess his conundrum, because he knows what is going to happen to these people and he wants to save them, but you know that he can't really do anything, and deep down he knows that he can't really do anything. But at the same time, even though this is a famous crew of like the first people on Mars, how many times has the Doctor actually met a person where it's like, yeah, you are destined to die in this way, like some historical figure or whatever, or even a future one that's like a fictional one that we've never heard of? How many times has the Doctor come across somebody who is that sort of person who is noteworthy in history for whatever reason is gonna die horribly, and he just has to leave it anyway. Like, it's an interesting conundrum. And yeah, like I say, the fact that he breaks and he's like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna save him, I thought was great. And you do see the darker side of this Doctor. I think the way that the Doctor snaps out of it is a little bit disappointing, if I'm totally honest. Don't get me wrong, I think the scene where Lindsay Duncan goes home and shoots herself, that's great. But when you've got like the Ood stood there and the Doctor's like, oh no, I've gone too far, haven't I? I really would have wished that they stuck with that Time Lord victorious thing. I know that obviously Big Finish and comics and books and whatnot, they've expanded on it, but I really wish that they just would have stuck with it for the end of the David Tennant era, and that's how he gets his comeuppance, because I feel like that would be more in character, because this Doctor is quite arrogant and a bit egotistical. I mean, all of them are to a certain extent, but some more than others. Either way, fantastic story, and I wish, like I said, they'd have carried it on, but is what it is. It doesn't diminish this episode anymore because it is great. But in the comments below though, guys, let me know what you think. What are some of your favourite 10th Doctor stories? Do you agree with my choices? Do you not? Whatever it is, let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media and the Patreon link will be in the description as always, so if you'd follow me on any of those things, I'd absolutely love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Goodbye.